How to actually become a medical delivery courier. I receive a lot of questions from my previous videos, which I'm gonna link right here at Day Eating Live as a medical courier, as well as my experiences and how much money I make as a medical delivery courier. I will link those videos right here so you can watch them later. But this video today is going to focus on the things you need, the requirements, or what they are looking for, etc. After few weeks, I realized that a lot of you guys have the same questions. I went over the comments. I received a lot of emails asking me actually the same question. So I just decided, instead of typing all the answer over and over again, I just was gonna make a video about it, and here it is. The first question I got is if they actually need a resume. Now, this question could vary because for me, it was a little different, because if you saw my previous video, you know I talk about how I got into this job, which it was actually because of a friend that took vacation and she wanted me to cover her until she came back. And I was actually doing that for like a couple of days, and then I was actually interested on it and I decided to give it a try. And my application process was very different from a traditional. So I actually took some notes because I wanted to go over all the questions that I find that are almost the same questions that I got from your comments, your emails, etc. So that way I can share here with you guys, and maybe you understand a little better my point and how this medical delivery courier works. So the first question I got is if they actually need a resume. Now, this question could vary because for me it was a little different, because if you saw my previous video, you know I talk about how I got into this job, which it was actually because of a friend that took vacation and she wanted me to cover her until she came back. And I was actually doing that for like a couple of days, and then I was actually interested on it and I decided to give it a try. And my application process was very different from a traditional interview, etc., because I just called the number and they walked me through the steps. I did not need an interview, etc. They just asked me basic questions. For example, what kind of vehicle I have. Now I have a ZRV 2011. Back then I had a Honda Civic 2019 and I was not able to use that car because they want more space in the trunk and I did not have that much space. So I ended up getting rid of that car and buying a Honda CR-V 2011. It works great for me. It's good in gas and it's comfortable. I did have to make some adjustment to the car because it's an older car, it's not a new car, but it works great and I love it. So this is for the first question. Let's move to the next one. The next question was, do you need a specific skill? Now, you don't really need a specific skill, but you know that you're going to literally be working for yourself. So you need to be active, you need to know your stuff, and be proactive, because you are going to be doing most of the task by yourself. So what I recommend is have a good management of your time so that you get to the laboratories or the pickup locations on time and you're able to organize your routes, go to your routes and get used to it. Now, not everybody's going to have the same routes, like I mentioned before, because everything depends on what type of contract you get. Not everybody's going to get contracts with laboratories. Sometimes could be pharmacy and you're going to deliver directly with customers, with patients, etc. So it might vary. So this is something to consider, but the skills that you need are basic skills. Proactive, be able to work by yourself and be able to communicate well with others. That's the basic. How do you get a contract? Again, this is going to depend on the company that's going to hire you, and this is something that you really have to speak to them about. Is this a long term? Is this a short term position? Especially if you're looking for jobs online, you want to make sure that once you get into an interview or you get to talk to somebody, you are able to ask this type of questions. Very important, so that way they're not fluctuating or changing anything that they said previously after you're in their job. So make sure you have everything clear and everything said before you even start. Now, I want to mention this here before I even forget. Make sure you read your contract before you sign anything with these companies. Make sure you read. And when I say companies, remember, sometimes you're going to be a subcontractor. So a company is going to have the contract directly with these pharmacies or laboratories, and you are going to be the subcontractor. So after they get the contract, you're going to be working for them. Now, these companies, they might be out of state, they might be on state but not really close to you, etc. It could be a lot of cases. For me, my company, it's out of state, all the way in Florida. I'm in New York City, Queens area. So every management is totally remotely. So I don't have contact with none of them, only through the phone, text messages, emails, etc. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. It will really help the channel and help me to keep bringing more value to the channel and uploading videos like this. Very important to read the contract, guys. I have seen a lot of issues with these contract things going on where people just sign shit, I'm sorry for the language, and they don't read what they are signing. Very important to read your contract. Every contract is different, and you want to make sure you understand it well before you sign anything. How much do they pay? And if I could give an average of how much money they make, or how can they make that much money? Now, again, this is going to vary on the company that you get the contract with, but this is why I always suggest to make sure you know your stuff before you even sign the contract. How are they going to pay you? If they're going to pay you salary, if they're going to pay you by miles, if they're going to pay you whatever. Remember that they are contracting companies, so they have their set salaries or how they pay. So it's very important for you to talk to them about this stuff. How much they're going to pay you per mile? Are they going to cover your gas? Are they going to cover wait times or any delays? Are they going to cover wait time at the laboratory or pharmacy if you get there and the items are not ready, etc.? These are all things that you have to consider if you want to work like this, because it's not going to make sense for you to work and be waiting and stuff and you're not getting paid for that time. So very important to have that clear. Now, be very careful, because they're very sleek. They are very smart on the language they use, because people are desperate sometimes for this type of job because of the comfortability that offers, and you're not having a boss around you because you are like an independent contractor. That's what you are. They're not even here, or you're a subcontractor. So yes, you're working for yourself. You get a 1099 at the end of the year, so you are your own boss. So at the end of the day, you want to make sure you have everything clear. Make sure you know exactly how much they're paying and if it's going to be convenience to you depending on the routes you're going to get. Remember, they might be getting all over routes, but they might have routes that are set. So you want to make sure you ask these questions. Do I going to have a set route, or how are my routes? And if you do not have a set routes, what are the areas that I'm going to be going? You want to have this in mind, because from here you can start calculating, are they going to pay you per mile, and how much is going to be the mile? You don't want to be going far away thinking that you're going to make a lot of money when they only paying you the mile 0.50. So it doesn't make any sense. So make sure you have everything in place. Don't say yes right away. Make sure you do your calculation before you say yes, because it's very important to have everything clear. I have seen a lot of people get taken advantage of because they don't read. It's very important to read. In my specific route, I have a set route. I go from 3 a.m. all the way to 11:30, depending on the traffic, because the traffic, it is bad. Since I'm going all the way to the Bronx and White Plains and those area, I do have to cross the bridge when I'm coming back home to Queens. So it's a little hectic at that time, but nothing from another world. I wake up at 2:30, 2:45 a.m. in the morning. I go pick up all the stuff at the laboratory, and I go right away and drop them off. As at around 6:40, 6:30 a.m., I am already finishing with my first run. I do 2 runs, the first one in the morning and a second one. Now these laboratories, they can have a lot of runs. They can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but I only do 2 routes, 2 runs in the morning and then at 9:45. So when I finish at 6:45 a.m., I finish my first route. I could go home, sleep, breakfast, work on my other stuff, and then go back again to the laboratory to do the second run. This really, I love it because I have flexibility. Sometimes I do take my laptop and all my stuff and I go near a cafe around the laboratory where I work, and I just do my stuff over there because I can just finish in 2 hours, and around 2 hours and 30 minutes that I have free, and then go pick up, finish, and go back home. So I do enjoy that, and I know a lot of people don't see it that way. They're like, hey, you spend all your day out. I don't take it like that, because at the end of the day, I am taking advantage of the time which I'm already working for them. So I am actually working both jobs in one, because those 2 hours that I'm waiting for the next dosages to come out, I'm doing other work. So everything depends on how you want to see it. And I always said, you got to see the good in the bad, because it is what it is. These jobs pay good. I showed you in my previous videos. If you want to go watch it so that you can see how much I make. I will link it right there. And it is good money. Important to take all this stuff that I just mentioned into consideration. Before I even forget to mention, they do ask you to have a body injury liability of $100,000 to $300,000. That's something that they do ask for, and I didn't want to leave this video without mentioning this. I want to mention that there's a lot of other jobs out there that you could be doing. If this is something that you want to do part-time or full-time, it's okay. Everything depends on what you want and how your schedule works, and it's very important to discuss this type of stuff with the companies that are going to be hiring you. So in the hiring process, I'm not sure if they call you or etc. Everybody works differently, but make sure you really know what you want, so you go straight up to the point and you're not like thinking or maybe or straight to the point. But there are a lot of stuff that people are doing to get side hustles. I see this job for me is a side hustle because I do have my other main jobs. Yes, I said main jobs, because here in New York City you cannot leave with one job. There is no way you can support a family with one job. Supporting a family is really hard. So I understand when people are desperately looking for something that pays well, because we need to in order to survive here in New York City. And if you guys want me to talk a little more about those incomes, other side hustles that I have that have been really helping me in that they keep me going through all this crisis, economy, and whatever this is, please leave it down below in the comment, and I'll be more than happy to share with you guys some of my side hustles aside from all these other jobs that I already have. For those people that stayed all the way to the end of the video, I have a little bonus. I have been doing some research about other companies that they hire drivers for medical delivery, nuclear medicine, etc. So what I did, I went and asked other deliveries that I get around the hospitals that I go drop off to ask if they're hiring or how can I find more information about their companies. And they did give me some of the companies, which I'm gonna link below on the description of this video. Go check those positions out, make sure you read, and apply if you want to. It depends if it's convenient for you or not. Stay tuned. I'm gonna be uploading some very good videos in the future. Don't forget to watch them videos next.